All right, yeah. So an important part of anatomy and physiology is terminology. Like in all science, it's like learning a whole different language, right? So today, what we're going to be talking about is just terminology that you need in order to be able to identify different parts of the body, right? So starting with anatomical position, it's just what you see right here, right? It is just the positioning of the body when it's upright and facing forward. The arms are hanging on the sides of the body, and the palms are facing forward, so just what you see right here, right? Palms forward, arms at the side. And so this is anatomical position. You'll see this a lot when you're looking at animations and illustrations, right? So you have right here, and we'll see these in more detail in the following slides. Regional terminology, just what it sounds like, right? It describes anatomy by dividing the part of the body into different regions. That's where you get the word regional, and contains structures that are involved in similar functions. So again, we'll see these in a few slides coming up. Directional terms, we'll be looking at those, and they just describe the positions of structures relative to other structures or locations in the body. Very important when you get into the medical field or when you're talking about anatomy and physiology. We have so many different structures in the body that you need to be able to pinpoint where one is in relation to another, right? So that's why you get these directional terms right here. So let's go ahead and look at this in more detail. So here we have the planes of the body, right? The planes of the body are just hypothetical planes used to describe the locations of structures in the human body, right? So here you see the planes of the body. You have the sagittal plane, which is right here. It's basically if someone took a cut right from the middle of the body, so starting here at the head and just kind of went straight down the middle through the nose, in the sternum, which is the breastbone right here, down through the belly button and through the middle of the growing area, right? That would be the sagittal plane. Here we're talking about, now let's look at the coronal plane, right? The coronal plane is here. You see this one in yellow, and that's basically as if you were taking a cut of the body right from the side right here. And so you can see this one is not really going um, down the center of the face and through the chest, and that this one is coming from the side right here, right? So as you see this yellow plane, it's kind of if you were to make a cut through the body and just kind of go right down the entire side of the body. Right, then here you have the transverse plane, which is this blue plane right here, and it's basically if you were to make a cut down the middle, like where the hips or the waist are of a person, that is a transverse plane right there. Right. So again, it's important to make sure that these are all labeled because anatomy and physiology is all about knowing how to tell one part of the body from the other, right? Distinguishing them. And so body cavities, that's another a dominant a trait that you'll see in humans is that or in animals in general is that we have body cavities all throughout our body, and those are just fluid filled spaces inside the body that hold and protect internal organs, right? So we want our organs safely secured and cushioned in case we are hit, like in a car accident or you fall or someone just runs into you really hard. You definitely want your organs protected by a fluid, right? And by this cavity. And so here you see the cranial cavity. Whenever you see cranium is a skull. So whenever you see that word cranial, you're going to be talking about this part of the body, right up here in the head. And so the cranial cavity is just a cavity that we have here where our brain goes, right? And again, we want our brain well protected. I remember back in high school, we used to play football, and the coaches wanted us to hit someone so hard you would see like a bright light. I learned later that that bright light comes from the back of your brain hitting the back of your head, right? So not getting cushioned by that fluid, but instead just smacking into your skull, and that's where that bright light comes from, right? So enough of those, and that definitely can lead to brain damage. Here you see the dorsal cavity. Whenever you see, and we'll see this in a little bit, dorsal just means along the back, right? Dolphins have those dorsal fins, shark have those dorsal fins, and that just means that it's right along the back, right? So here you have this dorsal cavity where the spine will go, and that is also filled with fluid to protect our spine, right? The spinal cavity here you see the thoracic cavity, which we'll see in a little bit more detail, the abdominal cavity, and the pelvic cavity, which is here in the pelvis or the hip area. Right. And so ventral means front. This is the front part of the body. And dorsal means back. This is the back part of the body.